Good evening, Hyperspinners. Today we're going to be talking through Rocket Launcher, the setup, and just basic workflow. So get ready. All right, guys, let's strap in. We've got rlauncher.com up right now. This is the Rocket Launcher website, and you can think of Rocket Launcher as the guts and the back end to Hyperspin. Hyperspin is basically just a pretty face, and Rocket Launcher is the brains behind the operation. So this is going to allow you to launch all of your games, very streamlined. Also kind of throw up some media to make it look good in the process. And it also has a feature that's called pause, and that pauses your game, and then you can view some of your guides and artwork or videos, whatever you might have for a particular game. I tend to have commercials. I don't know, I've got the nostalgic feeling, I guess. I've collected all the commercials for all the different systems. So anyhow, well, let's get started here. So I'm at rlauncher.com, and I'll put the website in the description below. And what we've got is two downloads. We've got the full install, and we've got the base media pack. So we're first going to download Rocket Launcher version 1.20. You're going to see there's the full install, and then we've got two mirrors. We've got the Mega site, and I just tested the link, the MediaFire, and I don't think that one's working. So just download the Mega link there and download that to your desktop. And then we've got Rocket Launcher's base media pack, which I'll put the link in the description below as well. So yeah, get the Mega here, the mirror, and you'll just download away, and we'll get started. So once you've downloaded those two packs, what you're going to do is open up your Hyperspin root folder. Now there's a couple of ways that you could do this. You could install Rocket Launcher outside of Hyperspin if you wanted to. I personally like everything very neat, keeping it within the Hyperspin root folder. I have not had any issues. So yeah, this is going to be where you are going to unzip the file. One important note is when you go to unzip your Rocket Launcher full install, it may ask you for a password. So at the bottom of that Rocket Launcher full install page, the password is at the bottom. It's going to be rlauncher.com. So you'll just put that in there when it asks you for your password. So go ahead and do that. I'm going to flip back to the Hyperspin folder. So once you've unzipped the file, you're going to see Rocket Launcher folder. You're going to open that, and you're going to see everything here with the exception of the media folder. Now, if you've downloaded that media pack, go ahead and unzip that file here, and it will create this media folder. I'm not going to go too much into this at the moment, but once you open that media folder, it's going to basically allow you to see all the media and the file structure for the media for Rocket Launcher, which you will want to have. So let's get started. There are a couple folders that I manually created. You'll see this 7Z extract folder. Go ahead and make that. It's pretty handy. Essentially, this is going to be where, if you've got games that are 7Z zipped, they'll be extracted here, and Rocket Launcher allows you to select the number of games that remain extracted, so you've got a quicker startup if you've got a game that you're focused on. So I think I've got mine set to like 3 games per system, and then after that, what it'll do is it'll delete the extract of that 4th game that was remaining, It doesn't actually get rid of your original game. It's just, where the file gets extracted. So that's what that is. So you can name it whatever you want. I named it 7Z extract folder, and then you see it's broken down by system and the games as well. You don't need to worry about that. That all happens on the back end. You do want that folder though. Also, I think the daemon, the daemon one comes with. I will include a number of these files in my mega site, so you do have the example as well. The data folder, this is basically going to be where, for instance, if you have MAME and you have game descriptions, so in your game info, now this was a special project that I can't remember the guy's name that I worked with. Basically, this gives you a description of a number of games. So when you're in pause, you'll be able to see the description of that game. You'll see the genre. You'll see basically the metadata for those games. So yeah, I've got 51 systems there that provide that information. Again, this is all in the back end, guys. I'm just trying to walk you through what this stuff is. Save states, you'll also want to do that. So under the data folder, save states, this is going to be where your saves go. Basically, Rocket Launcher will save that information to these folders. So I'm going to back up here. Stats, if you guys want to see how long you've been playing certain games, that's all that is. I'm going to back up out of that. And move lists. Now, I think these are created automatically. These aren't the actual bezels that you guys will love once you see them. We'll cover that in a little bit. Next, we've got idle volume. If you guys have not seen that idle volume video that I've published, this will allow you to mute or decrease the volume to your games or Hyperspin in general when you are idle for a set number of minutes. So it is helpful if you don't want the system to be distracting, if you've got to step away, or if you've got people over, whatever. This lib folder, this is going to be your code folder. This is all predefined within the package that you have, with the exception of user functions. If you open that up, basically you don't have to put anything in here. As you get used to all of this, you will be hunting on the forums for various things. I might just post this on my mega site. But basically, in this global Autohotkey, basically, you've seen the video with the light guns that I have. So what I've got is an Autohotkey that makes sure that the light gun cursor never exits the screen. It always stays afloat, so it doesn't miss readings. I think there's a couple other things in here that I've put in here, like the idle volume path. Basically just some things to tidy up the experience. So I'll share that with you guys. So that's what the user function is. If you guys are up for coding or just asking on the forums, someone will give you some information, and they'll be able to provide you with what you've got to paste and where. So take it for what you will. That is the code folder. Chances are you won't be messing too much with that. Also, fade animations, again, it's all the code behind it. We've got the user functions. You can see I've got a couple copies here because I was messing with them. Just whenever you update anything, guys, you always want to make a backup with the original. That's what you see there. We'll continue. Next, we get the media. So this is going to be your pause media. This is going to be your fades, between games, basically manuals, anything that you can think of. This is going to be where your Rocket Launcher media is stored. Module extensions. This is going to be the special add-ons that kind of make Rocket Launcher tick. you know, for instance, I think I put the no system, or yeah, the no tray orphans. If you guys have seen my other video on how on the nested wheel, you know, this see here, see it didn't fire here. So if you guys have watched my video, what this is if I just launch Hyperspin and I don't enter a wheel, so that no tray orphan exe runs in the background, and whenever you enter a wheel, then what it does is it cleans the system tray up. All this is already closed. This was just an annoyance for me. So I had opened up, I was playing with the backgrounds within Hyperspin to kind of get the transition to be static. I'll kind of show that later, but I was going back and forth because I was trying to get the resolution right. So that's why I've got multiple instances here, even though there's nothing there. See, I just kind of scroll over and it cleans it up. In general, Hyperspin does that too. It doesn't even matter if you've got the nested wheel. So that is something to think about. This no tray orphan exe, you guys are going to want to have. You'll need a remap in the Autohotkey. I think the path is in here. Maybe not. If it's not, you could just actually take my exe and put it in your startup script, and it will solve the issue of just cleaning this up. Doesn't affect your computer. It's just an annoyance that was bothering me. All this other stuff comes standard within the installation. I feel like the 7-zip sharp.dll was not there, and that was giving me problems when I was installing this years back. So I'll include, you know, this folder just to be safe for you guys. It's all code stuff that comes with that that install. Modules, this is going to be the guts and the glory of all of your systems. So this is how you are launching your emulation on the back end. So if you open up, I don't know, MAME, you're going to see a number of things that came with your install. And again, you don't need to worry about any of this. We're going to be setting all this up within the GUI. But just so you guys know, and this is what's actually being updated. Rocket Launcher has an online updater. They used to update this thing like monthly, but you know, they're probably taking a break or something. You know, because there hasn't been any updates. Maybe emulators haven't been updated. They do a really good job on keeping these Autohotkeys up to date, so your emulators are always working. And you'll want to make sure you're in the right version, which is displayed at the top of each one of these Autohotkeys. All right, so we're gonna keep on moving here. Other shout out here is under PC Launcher. You're gonna see there's game scripts here. Basically, these are sort of, I guess, pre-launches or post-launch scripts. I think there's only a couple examples in here. A lot of these I've made just to make my light guns work, like the Demule Shooter exe. You know, open and close the apps that make that run. So I'm going to go ahead and go back. We're almost through this file structure, and then we'll get through the GUI. Next, we got plugins. So Rocket Launcher is not just a Hyperspin brain, if you will. It supports all of these front ends. You essentially just change the plugin dropdown if you wanted to use a different front end, and it will just work. So you know, I'll show you that in the GUI in a little bit. The profiles folder, this is going to be where all your mapper files are. So I strongly recommend you guys setting up Joy2Key. This is basically a mapper, so you can you know, push a button on your keyboard and it will mirror that on your controller or you know, whatever you're using. So you'll want to set that up ahead of time, because you guys will probably end up looking at BlissBox later on, where you can use your old school controllers and, you know, play away. So you know, get through the pain now and don't worry about it later. XPatter is sort of a rival to that, but it doesn't work as well as Joy2Key, and it's not compatible with BlissBox and some other things. So hit that one up. and you'll find the folder structure. We got the defaults that covers all the systems, and then each system could have specific mapper profiles. So if I open up one of these, you're going to see, you know, MAME. I've got a very specific one for a mod, Donkey Me, and then I've got a basic MAME setup. So that's all there is to it with the Joy2Key. Check out my video for setting up Joy2Key to get that running. Then we got Rocket Launcher UI. So this is the file structure for everything that is in this Rocket Launcher GUI. So all these graphics that show up on the side here, you're going to notice some graphics aren't associated to some of these names that I've added. Doesn't really bother me. It's just you know, for visual pleasing eyes there. But it comes with a ton of media. Chances are it's going to fill all the media that you could ever dream of. So everything that's in these folders, you really won't be touching at all. Just scanning through here. So if you're in the media, so Rocket Launcher UI media, if you go to logos, this is where, you know, you can create a custom logo, if you will. So I've got a Hack Games wheel, and then I did an underscore default. I dropped that in there. There's also icons. So these are the icons that were showing up on the GUI off to the side here. So if I wanted to add an icon for all, I could basically make an icon or a little picture, and I could drop it in there and call it all, and it would show up there. So you can see there's 310 different systems with icons. And notes, we're done there. Plugins. Yeah, all of this stuff you guys won't be touching here. So let's double check. Yep, we're good there. Good there. Updates, yeah, we're good there. Okay, so yep, so this is all there is to it with the Rocket Launcher UI. And this is going to be how you guys are going to access your configuration. So I'm in the Hyperspin Rocket Launcher folder. All this other stuff, this Rocket Launcher icon is going to be what runs in the background. So when you launch a game, that's what will show up in the system tray. So to actually start modifying what's in the GUI, let's get started here. So if you go to Rocket Launcher UI, what you're going to want to do is first right-click that thing, and you are going to want to pin that to start or to your system tray. You're basically just going to want to make sure you've got some way to easily you know, display that. You could just drag, well, it doesn't look like, yeah, there you go. You could just drag it right down on your system tray to pin it, and yeah, you just open that. So you can see my pins here. I've got Hyperspin Bezel, which you've seen in another video, Main Menu Changer, Hyper HQ, Hyper Theme, Rocket Launcher UI. These are the meat and potatoes when it comes to Hyperspin. So yeah, so I'm actually going to pause this video because we've done a lot of talking about the structure, and we'll do this in a couple parts so it's more manageable for you guys. So hold on.